All right, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to show evidence for your test corrections for Unit 9. So I'm going to work through the Unit 9 test review that I gave you during class. And I'm just going to go in order because they're in the same order as the problems in your test, very similar. So if you miss number 1 on your test, you're going to watch this example and then you're going to fix it on your test. So you're going to graph this equation. It says, it gives me an equation and it's asking me to find the vertex. So to find the vertex, I need to see the graph. And to see the graph, I can do it in decimals. So I'm going to type this straight go into decimals. So starting from here all the way to the 3. So I have x squared plus 4x plus 3. So here's my graph. The vertex is always either the highest point or the lowest point in your graph. My graph doesn't have a highest point, it has a lowest point. It's down here at the bottom, so I click on this point, and that's -2, -1. So my answer, -2, -1. But you don't get credit in your test for right answers only. You gotta give me evidence. So your evidence for this problem in number 1, or on your test, sorry, it's gonna be to draw the graph that you get. Draw the graph, just a quick sketch, doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm just gonna label the vertex that was -2, -1. So this is gonna show me that you did graph it, and then you'll mark your right answer. So on your test, if you're doing test corrections, this one is the one on your test. So if you missed this one, you can do the same thing I did on my example. You're going to graph it, you're going to sketch the graph, you're going to label the vertex, and then you type the right answer in here. Okay. So try that one if you missed it on your test. All right, number 2 on your test is this one. So if you missed this one on your test, I'm going to show you an example that's very similar to it, and then you can try this one. Watch it though, because I want to show you exactly what I want to see for you to get your points back. Okay, so for this one, here's the example from the review. It says, which statement about the graph is not true? So to get your points back on this question, if you missed it, you have to show me every single option on the graph. So the first option says the graph has a y-intercept at 0, 4. So here's 0, it went up 4. That's true because it's on the graph. So this one is not the answer because this one's true, and I want the one that's not true. Okay, next one says the graph has a maximum at 3, 8. So here's the 3. I go up 8. That's true. This point here, 3, 8 is a maximum. It is the highest point. So this one's true. So it's not my answer. Next one, option C. The graph has a line of symmetry defined by y equals 3. So I'm gonna draw my line of symmetry because remember, it is going to be a line cuts through the middle. So that's my line of symmetry. And when you draw it, you can see that it crosses at the 3, but it doesn't cross the y-axis at the 3. It crosses the x-axis at the 3. So here, this is wrong because this should say x equals 3. So this is not true. And then just to get all of the evidence on the graph, I'm going to do the last one. It says the graph has an x-intercept at -1, 0. Here's -1. That's true. That's an x-intercept at -1, 0. So I label that -1, 0. And so now that's evidence. So on your test, on this one, number 2 on your test, if you got this one wrong, to get your points back, you're going to show me all those different parts in each answer choice until you find the right one. Okay. All right. Number 3 on your test It's asking you for the y-intercept, so I'm not going to do this one. You're gonna have to correct it on your own. But on the review, it's very similar. So this one, in my example, it says what is the y-intercept? So that means you look at the y-axis. This is the y-axis. So I'm looking at this line right here. Where does it cross with the graph? Crosses right here at the 5. So you're gonna mark the point. You are going to circle it. And to know that which one's the right answer, you have to remember that in a point, first is the x, and then it's the y. So my answer should be D, because the 5 is in the place of the y, and I was looking for the y-intercept. Okay, so you missed number 3 on your test, this one, try it. Label the y-intercept on the graph, and then choose the right answer. All right, 4 on your test is similar to 4 on the review. Remember that the domain of all parabolas is always all real numbers. Okay, so for this one, you don't even have to show me any evidence. That was just, you had to memorize that. If you have arrows on the left side and on the right side, that means it's all real numbers. So that should be the same answer for number 4 if you missed that one on your test. Right, this is number 5 on your test. It says which function is equivalent to this. Okay, so you're gonna try this one if you missed it, but first I'm gonna show you the example that was on the review, very similar to number 5 on your test. So it says which function is equivalent to this. So all you had to do was graph it. That's all you had to do. Graph it and find the one that matched. So I'm gonna graph this in decimals. 2x plus 1. Okay, here's my graph. Do not delete this, you're gonna keep that, and then we're just gonna start typing answers until we find the right one. And so I'm gonna type the first one, 3x squared plus 12x plus 33. Sorry, I'm doing the example, this one. I'm gonna type this one, 2x squared plus 3x minus 5, 2 plus 3 minus 5. Okay, you can see the blue one is not the same as the red one. So I click here so that it hides it and I don't get confused. Now I'm gonna type answer choice B for my practice. 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. Okay, and then you can see that's the same one. So if I turn this off right here, if I click on it, it goes away, the red one comes up. If I click on it again, it shows you that it comes up on top of it, so it's the exact same one. And so for number 12 on my review, the answer was B. For your evidence on your test, if you got this one wrong, it was because you didn't pay attention during class. All you had to do was graph it. So if you got it wrong, your evidence is gonna have to be, you're gonna have to sketch it. So here, the graph that I get is the one that I would sketch as part of my evidence on the test. Okay, so do this one, number 5 on your test if you got it wrong. Sketch this one, make sure you draw it, and then find the one that matches. If you got number 6 wrong on your test, you're gonna have to do the exact same thing I did for number 5. Okay, so you would graph this one in decimals, graph this one in decimals, sketch it here in the picture, however your graph looks, sketch it in here, and then type each answer choice till you find the same graph. That's gonna be your evidence. You have to sketch it or you will not get the points back. Okay, this is number 7 on your test. It says which graph best represents the equation. So I'm just gonna tell you what to do on this one, and then you're gonna do it to find your answer. So here, you have to graph this in decimal. So you're gonna type all this just like it is. Graph in decimals. Once you find, or once you have your graph, you are going to cancel any ones that are not the same. make sure you check key points. So for example, make sure you check the x-intercepts and then check the highest point of your graph or your lowest point of your graph. And then just make sure everything is matching. You're really careful when you're checking that. Okay, for this one, again, there's no evidence on this one. All you gotta do is graph it and then find the one that matches and then just type the letter of the right answer. That's number 7. Right. If you missed number 8, I'm going to explain an example that's like this one, and then you fix it. So if you missed number 8, it's very similar to this one in the review. It says, what are the roots? So you had to know that roots meant x-intercepts. Okay. So you're gonna have to circle the word roots, right? That it's x-intercepts. And then on your graph, you're gonna have to label the points for your answer. So my x-intercepts are where it crosses the x-axis. This axis right here, horizontal line, is the x-axis. So it crosses here and here. So you had to know what number goes here, what number goes here. Remember the center, that's 0. So this is 1 and this is 2. This over here on the left side, those are negatives. So here I had a -1. So my answer is -1 and +2. X, Y, X, Y. They're asking me for x-intercepts, so those numbers should be in the place of the x's. So C in this one is the right answer. Okay, so if you missed number 8 on your test, you're gonna do the same thing. Write for me what does root means. Label your x-intercepts in your graph, mark the points on the graph, and then choose the right answer. Right, number 9 on your test is calculator. It's a calculator problem. So I'm gonna do number 9 from the review to remind you how to do those, and then you can try number 9 on the test. All right, so in this one, it says, given the vertex 2, 5, and the point 1, -2, which of the following is written in the correct vertex form? So easy way to do this is using Desmos. So what you would do is you have to create a little table with X and Y, and then put those points that they're giving you in the table. 2, -5, and then this one, 1, -2. So I'm looking for this little table right here in one of these 3 equations. So I'm gonna try the first one. I'm gonna type this one into this one. Okay, so that's the first one. I'm going to click settings, click table, and I'm going to look for those 2 points that I had, 2 with -5, 1 with -2. 2 is with -5, 1 is not with -2. So A is not the answer. I'm gonna type this one, 3 - 2 - 5. Okay, so again, I'm looking 2 with -5, 2 is with -5, and I want 1 with -2, 1 is with -2. So then both of the points match for this equation, so this is my answer. And so same thing, you're gonna do that for this one. There's not much evidence to do on this one. Just want you to create your little table with the 2 points that you're looking for in an equation. Okay, so try that one if you missed it. Right, next one is number 10. So number 10 on your test is a table, and it says, what are the solutions? So I'm not gonna do that one, I'm gonna give you the answer. I'm gonna do the one from the review. So number 10 from your review was very similar. What are the solutions? And it's showing you a table. So what you had to remember here is that solutions are your x-intercepts. And so remember, the x-intercept is always x, comma, 0. And so I'm looking for the 0 to be the last number. So here 0 is the last number. My solution is -1. Here's another 0 as the last number. My solution is +1. So my 2 answers were -1 and +1. which is B. So same thing for number 9. If you missed this one, try it. I'm looking for 0 to be the last number. All right, so on this one, number 11, it was a pretty easy problem if you remember to graph your equations in decimal. So in this one, it says which one describes this transformation, and it gives you 2 equations, and then you're supposed to determine which one's the right option. So I'm not going to do this one on your test. I'm going to do the one from the review. So the one from the review, very, very similar. I have 2 equations. And so the way to do this, you were supposed to graph both of them into decimal. So first I'm going to graph this one first. I'm going to have to sketch this. So I'm going to set up my axes. So here's my y-axis and here's my x-axis. And I'm going to type the first equation into decimals. F of x equals x squared. So you don't have to put the f of x part, but I just typed it right now. That is the parent function. That's the first one. So I'm going to sketch that one in my review. Goes through right here through the origin, goes like this. Right now I'm going to graph the second one. So I'm going to graph this one, x squared plus, or x plus 5 squared. So this one's g of x equals x plus 5. And then this one's the blue one. So if you notice, it's right here at the -5. So I'm going to sketch it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's -5. And go something like this. So it says describe the transformation. How did it change? So from the purple one to the green one, it moved to the left. And so the correct answer, the only one that said left, was the first one. Okay, so in your test, if you missed number 9 or number 11, sorry, you are going to graph both of them. You have to sketch them, and then you select the right answer. How did it change on your question? All right, number 12. Number 12 on your test is this problem right here. It's showing you a graph, and it says, what is the solution to Rx equals 0? So again, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do the one from the review, very similar. It says, what is the solution to Rx equals 0? So what threw off a lot of students was this part right here. That was just kind of there to remind you that solutions are zeros, and another word for zeros are x-intercepts. The solution means x-intercept. So I'm looking at the x-axis. It crosses right there at the 3 and right here at the -2. So in your test, you're going to have to mark the points and label the numbers for me. And then you're just going to have to find your answer. So -2 and +3, the only one that's here is the +3. Okay, so same thing on your test. Make sure you mark on your graph the points and then circle your answer. 13 on your test is asking you to find the positive solution to this equation. So if you notice, I don't have a picture, that means I have to graph it, but to be able to graph it in decimals, it needs to be equal to 0, and right now it's not equal to 0. So to do that, I'm going to show you with number 13 from the review. Very similar. It's asking me to find the solution, same thing. I have to make it equal 0. So in my problem, there's a 1 there. So to get rid of the 1, I subtract the 1, cancels, and I put it on the other side. So now I'm just copying this. I have 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. And now here, now I have the 0. And so now I can type this into decimals to find my graph. So I'm going to type this 3 plus 2 minus 1. So 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. This is my graph. The solutions are on the x-axis. So -1 and 0.33. So in your test, I also want you to sketch it. And just show me the points where you find your answers. It's -1, that's 0.33. The question was asking me which one is the negative solution. So the only number that I should put in my answer is -1 because that is a negative solution. Okay, your test is asking you for the positive solution, so be really careful. Solve to get to get 0, graph it, and then find the positive solution. The last one in your test, very similar, says what value of x is a solution to this equation. The nice thing about number 14 on your test is that it's already equal to 0, so you don't have to worry about solving anything. All you do is you're gonna type this into decimals. You're going to sketch the graph for me, so sketch whatever graph you have, and then mark your solutions. Remember, solutions are where it crosses the x-axis, and then you're gonna circle your answer. And make sure you have evidence for all of your test corrections. Submit it, and then I will look over those and give you points back for the ones that you fixed.